Today's episode is going to be really fun, Broncos country. During the Broncos bye week, it's always nice to find those weird, unique storylines that kind of get us away from the day-to-day stuff, and this one is actually kind of crazy. So before we break down how Stefon Diggs was almost a Denver Bronco, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 49,000 subscribers. So if you love fresh, entertaining, informative Denver Broncos content, hit that sub button today. I almost didn't believe the story when I first read it, and then Ian Rappaport came out and actually broke the news that Stefon Diggs this offseason was this close to being a Denver Bronco. Now, you could look at this one of two ways. You could look at it and go, man, we really missed out on a really great player. Or you could say, hey, maybe the Broncos dodged a little bit of a bullet here based off of the offseason hoopla that Stefon Diggs was a part of. Either way, obviously, it didn't happen. The Denver Broncos have what they have, and we have completely moved on. So you might be thinking, this isn't really news. Well, it's always nice to at least get away from the ho-hum of the bye week, right? There's not much to report on other than there's some key matchups going on this coming Sunday that will maybe impact the Denver Broncos moving forward as they get into the playoffs. So on today's show, we're going to break down how Stefon Diggs was almost in Denver. History could be telling us that the Super Bowl might come this season based off of the Broncos' record, and why the fourth quarter play for the Denver Broncos will continue to lead us as we get deeper down the stretch of the season. Let's start with Mr. Stefon Diggs. One of the best wide receivers in the last, let's call it 5 to 6 years. I mean, the guy is an absolute stud. Are his better days behind him? Tough to say. I do know he's not the exact same player that he was in Minnesota or even in Buffalo, but he has had a really nice resurgence in his career in New England. But Ian Rappaport came out with this entire bombshell report and said that Stefon Diggs' free agent decision came down to the Patriots and the Broncos. And this is interesting. Here's exactly what he had to say about why Stefon Diggs ended up choosing the Patriots instead of Mile High. Signing Stefon Diggs was the end of a decades-long quest for Mike Vrabel. I mean, if it's a freaking quest, obviously you're going to get him. Vrabel recruited Diggs out of high school when he was an assistant at Ohio State. Didn't get him and was mad about it. When Diggs became available this spring, his agent sent a video to the Patriots just 3 months after the ACL tear. He was running, cutting, good sign. Ahead of the schedule, it came down to the Broncos or the Patriots. 5 months from passing a physical, the Patriots signed up, and a big-time leap of faith ensued. Here's what I will say. I'm actually kind of happy that the Denver Broncos didn't land Diggs. There's way too many distractions with this player. I'm not saying he's not a good guy. I'm not saying he's a locker room cancer. But do you remember earlier on this offseason when he had that pink stuff on the boat and that Cardi B situation? I mean, he's literally just a player that causes headlines, and he's really talented. So right now, while the Patriots are winning, I guess it's fine. But I want total buy-in from my wide receivers. I want total and complete focus from my wide receivers. I want Courtland Sutton. I want Troy Franklin. I want Pat Bryant. I want players that are committed to winning the Super Bowl. Not making the games look flashy and causing the headlines and dating Cardi B. That's fine in your off time, but that's not what I want for my football team. And despite that, Diggs is having a pretty good year. Like I said, this is not a shot at Stefon Diggs. He is playing very well. He is clearly the number one option for the New England Patriots, and Drake the schedule may over there in New England. Producer Alper likes that one a lot. But speaking of the Patriots, and we'll talk about them here in just a little bit. Do you think Stefon Diggs should have been a Bronco? Would you still have wanted Stefon Diggs as a Bronco? Give me a yes or no in the comment section down below. I'm going to type my N for no on this one. Not, again, because I don't like Stefon Diggs, but I'm happy with the current roster that we have constructed here at Mile High. Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you why history is on the side of the Denver Broncos this football season. And yes, it has to do with the fact that the Broncos are 9-2. Now, before I get into that, got to tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. picks. The weather has officially changed. It's almost winter, my friends. But the feeling of being right never gets old. So do yourself a favor and download the PrizePicks app today and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter what your play is, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the ultimate test. It takes 30 seconds to make a lineup super quick. All you have to do is pick your player, the more or less on their stat projections, and then watch your money multiply. Up to 2,000 times your cash this football season on PrizePicks. So do me a favor. Go to the App Store, click the download button, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. Why is history on the side of the Denver Broncos? I'm glad you asked. In the 11 seasons, now this is the 11th season, that the Denver Broncos have started 9-2. Out of those 10 first seasons, you can't count this season, but out of those 10 seasons, they reached the Super Bowl 7 out of the first 10 seasons. Whoa, wait a minute. Are you telling me that the Broncos have a 70% chance to make the Super Bowl? That's what I heard. Obviously, that's not how statistics work, and I say that tongue in cheek, but this is definitely a good sign. History would tell you now that when the Denver Broncos start off this hot, they make deep playoff runs, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. Look, I don't want to be the first one to go out there and say that the Denver Broncos have to make the Super Bowl, but what you have to do is make a deep playoff push. You can't just make the playoffs again this year. This team is way too talented. There are way too many high expectations, not only placed by myself, but other content creators and the team itself. Sean Payton called this one of the most talented teams he's ever coached. So sitting at 9-2 at the very top of the AFC West sounds great, and it feels great. But the eye on the prize now is to make a deep playoff run. Multiple playoff wins and starting to establish dominance with this team and in the AFC. So far, so good. I really love what I'm seeing this year from this team. Defensively, it's the best defense in the NFL. Offensively, I do think we found our groove against the Kansas City Chiefs. It might not have been pretty leading up to this point, but I want my team playing their best offensive football down the stretch of the season. And right now, number one in the entire AFC, number one in the NFL. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling really, really good about it. And you know who else is feeling good about it? Icy Bo, Mr. Ice in his veins, Nix. Here's what he said after the Chiefs game, and I love this. It makes me want to run through a brick wall. They were at the top, and if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Bingo. That's my guy right there. That's my quarterback. That's QB10 right there. And the rest of the Broncos schedule, look, I'm not going to say it's insanely difficult, but you do have some tough games, right? Week 13, maybe not so much. No Jaden Daniels. Week 14, Raiders, okay, whatever. But then you got the Packers. They're a good playoff team. Jaguars are currently a playoff team. Chiefs are going to be fighting for the playoffs. And the Chargers, right on the outside, they're currently a playoff team as well, actually, believe it or not, now that I think about it. So Bo Nix knows, as well as you, as well as me, that you got to start playing your best football down the stretch of the season, heading into the playoffs. I think the Broncos are there. I think they are starting to play their best football. And speaking of Bo Nix, one Kansas City Chiefs player, Mr. Chris Jones, one of their best defensive players ever, claims that Bo Nix did something incredible. Bo Nix called out the last pass play to Troy Franklin to set up the Broncos for that game-winning field goal by Will Lutz. They asked Chris Jones specifically at his press conference, what happened on that last play? And here's what he said. That's great film study by them. They called it out. I heard them calling it out. They switched everything at the line of scrimmage, so Bo makes an audible. And you can see Bo Nix call it out at the line of scrimmage. They knew it. They knew what we were doing. We have to do a better job at disguising coverage. That is quarterback play right there. That's quarterback play. We could sit here and go back and forth about how Bo's footwork looks and how his mechanics look on certain plays. But when rubber meets the road, Bo Nix is making calculated maneuvers in his head. Pre-snap, that's what the greatest of all time do. That's what Peyton did. That's what Breeze did. That's what Brady did. If you want to be one of the greatest, if you want to win a Super Bowl, it's not just what you do when the ball hits your hands and you cock back to throw. You got to be able to do it at the line of scrimmage, and I've always loved Bo's intangibles. I love the way his mind works. If he can clean up some of the physical stuff, you have a very scary quarterback in the years to come. By the way, we are going to be live for Colts versus Chiefs, but a little breaking news for you right here. We just kind of got the word that Joey Brr is going to be taking on, well, might play. But if he does play, if Joe Burrow plays Drake May, we're going to be jumping back and forth between the Patriots game and the Colts and Chiefs game. So join us this Sunday, 11 a.m. sharp. That's Central Time, by the way, so 10 a.m. Mountain Time. If you want to join in during the Broncos bye week and watch some NFL football with your boy Moose. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be live a little bit later today, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you pull up then. As always, Broncos country, mile high salute. Be cool.